8 News reporter Nate Eaton is standing by live now with more on this surprise announcement. Nate?
Yeah, Juan, surprise is the word. Tracy Thorne-Bagland was in his office here at the John Marshall Court building this afternoon when he received a phone call from the circuit court judges asking him and Mike Herring, his boss, the Commonwealth's attorney here in Richmond, to come up to their office. That's when Thorne-Bagland learned that he was being appointed to serve as a district court judge. You remember that about a month ago, the House of Delegates struck down that appointment. Some were concerned that because Thorne-Bagland is openly gay, that some of his activist work for gay causes would impact how he would serve on the bench. His boss, Mike Herring, says that that's bogus and that Tracy Thorne-Bagland will make the ideal judge. Listen.
Now, that shooter has not been identified just yet. Our team coverage continues now with my colleague Nate Eaton. Nate spoke with an eyewitness. You have an exclusive interview right now.
Yeah, Carrie, very frightening afternoon for everybody inside of this building. You know, there's more than just a law firm in here. There's several different other businesses, including the county's economic department. They're upstairs on the 3rd floor, but all of the action, we're told, happened down on the ground level. I spoke with a receptionist working inside of that law firm. Patty Orris says it was a normal afternoon when suddenly her life changed forever. Listen to how she described the terrifying moments.
John, and of course, in addition to the heat, we do continue to follow that breaking news coming out of Chesterfield. A man opens fire inside an office complex. 8 News reporter Nate Eaton has been on the scene all afternoon. Nate, what can you tell us?
Amy, we have just learned the name of the suspect in this case, 41-year-old Mark Lowe of the 200 block of Philway Road in Chesterfield. He is being charged with attempted murder, abduction, use of a firearm in the commission of a felony, and shooting into an occupied dwelling. Police tell us that this afternoon, Lowe came here to this complex right behind me. There's an attorney's office inside there. He approached an attorney in the parking lot. He was apparently unhappy with this attorney. It was some sort of child custody dispute. He approached the attorney, allegedly fired a shot. The attorney was able to get away with another worker, and that's when Lowe went into the building, and police say that he opened fire. Of course, several dozen people work inside of this building. In addition to being a law firm here, there's the Economic Development Department. There's a few other offices inside. All of those people extremely scared. We spoke with one of them. Take a listen.
Now, our coverage continues with my colleague Nate Eaton. He spoke exclusively with an eyewitness.
Yeah, Carrie, obviously a very scary day for many people working inside of this building. Many had just gotten back from lunch. They were getting ready for their afternoon routine when they heard gunfire. They heard shots. Several dove under their desks, ran to closets, ran to different offices. They locked their door. But one woman in particular was sitting at her desk when she saw the gunman face to face. Listen to her story.
8 News reporter Nate Eaton was there and shows us what's happening out there on the boulevard.
Quite a day for fans there at the Flying Squirrels baseball game. It started off as a normal afternoon, kind of like right now. Beautiful, sunny, but that quickly turned as the rain and the wind came in like nothing many people have ever seen. Look here at the left field fence at the back. You can see it has been torn apart. People that were sitting in the stands say all of a sudden this wind came from nowhere. It got very dark. The rain started to come down, and then it just gushed right across the field, and you can see it took out the fence back here. Billboards that were here before are now thrown to the ground. There were a couple of banners thrown across here that are no longer here anymore. Fans ran to their cars. They ran to the restroom. They ran for cover, hoping that nothing terrible would happen, more terrible than this. We are hearing that there are no injuries that have been reported miraculously, seeing that there were about 4,500 people here for the game. This all happened in the 8th inning, so many of them had gone home, but still there was a good crowd here when we showed up a few minutes after this happened. Now the ground here, the grass, was completely soaked. In fact, people told us that there was standing water, but right now it is dry as can be, like nothing happened here. They did bring out a big tarp to cover the majority of the field. They've removed that, and things are pretty much back to normal. The insurance adjusters have been out here taking pictures of this, looking at all the damage as they try to clean up from all this. Reporting at the Diamond tonight, I'm Nate Eaton. Now back to you.
Reporter Nate Eaton for continuing coverage of today's severe weather. He's at the Diamond, where there's been some damage as well. Nate?
Yeah, Juan, we've talked a lot about the fence here in the left field of the diamond that was majorly damaged today. You can see the guys have pretty much cleared away most of the wood. They're getting ready to haul it away and make repairs here. What we haven't really shown you is the left field foul pole. You can see it up there. It is leaning. It definitely has some wind damage there. A good friend of mine says that some right-handed hitters probably like that change. They probably don't mind that. We'll see if it's still that way at next week's game on the 4th of July. Now let's go to that video that was shot here at the Diamond. I guess we don't have that video, but it was pretty powerful this afternoon. As the fans were here watching this game, the wind came in powerfully, the rain came in, and it all happened so quick. One guy pulled out his camera. He said he heard the rain and he heard the wind, pulled out his camera and knew that something bad was coming, but didn't know it would be this bad. Many of the fans ran to their cars. They ran for cover. They tried to seek shelter. Now, what happens from here? Well, the Flying Squirrels tell me that they want to have next week's game on the 4th of July. That's the next time the Squirrels are scheduled to play here. They say that everything should go as planned. They don't anticipate any major damage. Everything should be fixed and ready to go by then. Fans can still plan on coming here. A few of the boxes received some damage, but overall not too bad, and miraculously we're told that nobody was injured during all of this, but a lot of people shaken up, a lot of people attending a baseball game that they likely won't forget for quite a while. Reporting live at the Diamond tonight, I'm Nate Eaton. Back to you guys.
Well, today's winds and the rain also causing large amounts of damage to the Diamond. Our 8 News reporter Nate Eaton is there live. He'll walk us through what happened. Nate?
Yeah, you know, Christina, there were about 4,500 fans here this afternoon at the game, sitting in seats just like this when that storm moved in. It happened in the 8th inning, and it caused some major damage out here. Check out this box right behind me. The window glass pane actually was blown out. Now, this is fiberglass, so it's pretty strong. None of it was actually broken, but this happened on a few of the different boxes here in the stadium. Of course, the majority of the damage happened down here on the left field. The foul pole was bent and definitely is leaning. Also along the fence, a big section of it was taken out, and crews have been here all afternoon trying to fix up that section. If you look, though, if we do a pan across the back of the field, it looks as if everything is normal. It was just that one section that was hit, and then the one portion of the scoreboard up top where that Dominion banner is dangling there, held up by a couple of nails, that was also hit hard by the storm. Now, as all of this is happening, as the rain's coming down and the wind's blowing, these fans here in the stands are running for cover. They're running up the stairs to their cars. They're running to get shelter underneath the pavilion here. This tree is just one of many that fell into homes here in the Broad Meadows neighborhood this afternoon. The root system you can see is much taller than I am. It came crashing down right into the center of this house. As if this wasn't bad enough, a second tree here in the front yard also came crashing down on top of the driveway. And tonight, many people in this neighborhood are cleaning up.
Excellence in news.
Thanks for joining us this evening. After weeks of turmoil, today UVA's Board of Visitors made a stunning reversal and reinstated University President Teresa Sullivan.
The decision came late this afternoon. Our 8 News reporter Nate Eaton is just back from Charlottesville he is here now with the latest. Nate?
Christina, Governor McDonald told the Board of Visitors to resolve the issue today, and they did. Now Teresa Sullivan may be the most popular university president in the country. This afternoon, she was treated like a rock star after students, faculty, and others learned her job as head of the university is hers again.
Today, the Board of Visitors has voted to reinstate me as the president of the university.
A simple sentence that changes the history of UVA and ends weeks of turmoil on the Charlottesville campus.
There is no time for residual hostility toward anyone perceived to have been on the other side of recent disagreements. We can go forward with what is best for the university.
I'd like to call this special meeting of the Board of Visitors to order.
The announcement of Terry Sullivan's reinstatement came during a 20-minute Board of Visitors meeting where members admitted they were wrong in removing the university president.
There have been numerous comments about the process of the Board of Visitors that the Board of Visitors used in asking for and approving the resignation of President Sullivan. It is my opinion that everyone agrees that the process was flawed.
Sullivan entered the meeting with Board Rector Helen Dragas, the driving force behind the resignation.
I'd like to reiterate an apology to the UVA community. Again, let me state that we never wished nor intended to ignite such a reaction from a community of trust and honor that we love so dearly.
During the meeting, students and others waited outside the rotunda. Then, after every member of the board voted in favor of Sullivan's reinstatement, cheering and yelling.
I cannot tell you how humbled I am by your prayers, by the thousands of messages, and by your efforts on behalf of the university we all love.
Sullivan says she looks forward to working with the board, even Dragus.
Your relationship with Ms. Dragus?
We had, I think, a cordial meeting today, and we're resolved to make this work.
And if the university president has any doubts, there's a huge network of support to remind her.
Of course, students, faculty, parents, and many others are speaking out about the board's decision tonight. Many believe that Sullivan's replacement was necessary for UVA to move forward.
One of the only moments in my life where I have seen a group of intelligent, educated people agree on something. And I'm happy to be here.
We are very gratified. The board made a courageous decision, and I'm very happy. I think it's a great day for the University of Virginia.
And I am thrilled with what they have learned about democracy and being a good citizen, and about the power of people as a group to affect change.
So let's go back to when this all began. It was Friday, June 8th. That's when Sullivan agreed to step down. Over the next week, rallies and protests were held in opposition of the removal. Fast forward to June 19th, the interim president, Carl Zeithammer, and the vice rector of the Board of Visitors resigned. Zeithammer was named interim president. Also, Delegate Joel Morrissey called for an inquiry into Sullivan's ouster. 3 days later, on the 22nd, Zeithammer says that he's suspending his role as interim president. That's when Governor Bob McDonnell also warned the board of directors to get this all figured out, the Board of Visitors to resolve the issue, and today the board voted to reinstate Teresa Sullivan as president. A whirlwind of stuff there. Juan, back to you.
All right, thanks very much, Nate.
Until the 2 crew members were ejected from the jet.
Let's take a closer look now at the area where this all happened. We have it marked off on this map. You see the smoke there? It's the Mayfair Mews Apartments on Bird Neck Road. 8 News reporter Nate Eaton is there live, close to the scene with the very latest for us. Nate, what do you have?
We want to take you right now. I'm here with one of the men who kind of played a key role in all of the events today. We're outside the apartment complex. Patrick Kavanaugh, you're inside your apartment, correct?
Correct.
Describe what happened and what you did.
I was sitting there and I heard 3 loud booms. Didn't sound like explosions. So I got up and went out to my sliding door back deck and looked down and saw a pilot laying on the ground. His sheet still hooked to the building. As soon as I saw him, I knew exactly what had happened. I didn't think it was that close. I did a body survey on him for broken bones, open wounds. I didn't see any. The poor boy was in shock.
But he was talking to you.
He was talking. He wasn't moving at all. He was just laying there on his shoulder. And went in to try to dial 911, but the cell phone, it didn't go through. Went back out. Our neighbors, my nephew next door, had some neighbors helped pick the guy up. Once I found it, didn't feel like he had any broken bones. We moved him to the corner of the parking lot away from the flames. I didn't know how close the flames were. I heard secondary explosions. I didn't know if it was ammunition, fuel tanks, gas lines of the apartment complex. I didn't know where the jet had crashed.
But you heard it, and you had a pilot lying, what, on your back deck?
On the back deck.
And what were his injuries like?
He just, from what I could tell, he didn't have any open wounds. He just had a little blood, I think, around the nose area. I didn't feel any broken bones. He was conscious. He was in shock. So I made a decision. When I saw the black smoke come across the top of the building, I knew we had to move him, regardless.
You've had quite a health history yourself. This was pretty remarkable for you. You're here moving this pilot who's just
heavy guy. This guy on my back is killing me.
Yeah. Talk about how you were able to do this.
I've gone, like I said, I've had 5 heart attacks. It was my old rescue squad training, adrenaline. You'd have done the same thing. You'd have done the same thing. You don't have time to think. I'll think about it a little later tonight, but you just didn't have time. You had to act. And then with my nephew and some of the other neighbors, we went around to make sure we got the people out of the building, because this is an adult community. We have a lot of, how can I say this politely, elderly, and we had to make sure, did what we could to get the people out. But they heard the boom, they saw the fire, and believe me, they were coming out.
Would you say you're a hero for helping move this pilot?
No. They would have done all the same thing. As soon as they saw the fire, they knew he didn't have any open wounds, so sure, they would have grabbed him, but just like a MASH unit, load and go.
And how does the apartment complex look right now?
Terrible. I think my apartment building is okay, but we've got a lot of damage. My sister and mother just moved out 2 weeks ago, apparently, where the jet came down, and I think their building's destroyed.
Wow. Patrick Cavanaugh, you did good work today.
I wasn't by myself.
Thank you very much for talking with us. We'll let you take a break here. I want to kind of set the stage from where we're at. The apartments are back here. There's a lot of media here from all over the place, as you can imagine. The apartments are back here behind some of these stores along this main road where we are at here in Virginia Beach. We're expected to hear a news conference around 5:15 for an update. 6 people taken to the hospital, including 2 pilots and 4 civilians who were inside of the apartment. Miraculously, we're told that none of these injuries are critical, non-life-threatening injuries after this jet came crashing down here about a half mile from the ocean, we're told. And Patrick Cavanaugh, the man we just spoke with right here, played a key role in helping one of these pilots. We're going to be here and continually bring you updates throughout the newscast. Again, a 5:15 update is expected. We will carry that live here on 8 News. For now, reporting live in Virginia Beach, I'm Nate Eaton. Back to you.
Our 8 News reporter, Nate Eaton's been on the scene for hours now and gathering information. Let's go to him live for the latest. Nate?
Juan, right now we are inside of the apartment complex where this jet actually crashed this afternoon. You can see behind me that the roof is completely missing from that one building. There's a long building there. The roof is torn off. It's believed that on the other side of that building is where this jet is right now. There are several fire crews on the scene right now and other safety officials that are going apartment to apartment trying to make sure everybody is accounted for. At last check, we heard that 40 units were damaged when this jet came down. We do know and learned earlier this afternoon that this was a student who was flying this jet, a student pilot who was with an instructor. There was some sort of mechanical malfunction with the jet when the 2 pilots were able to parachute out of the aircraft before it came crashing down here. Miraculously, thus far, there has only been 6 people who have been injured, 2 of those being pilots, 4 others being inside of the apartment complex at this time. Now, as I mentioned, there is a very heavy presence of safety officials making sure everybody is okay. I asked one of the fire leaders here on scene how long they expect this investigation to go. He says at this point it's not a matter of hours, it is a matter of days. They are still trying to determine exactly why this jet went down, what brought it to this point, and they are in the process of figuring all of that out. Earlier on, I spoke with a man who was inside of his apartment when this jet went down. He says he heard 3 loud booms, looked out his back window, and there was one of the pilots lying on the ground. He went out and was able to give some medical assistance as he dialed 911. And fortunately, this pilot was taken away in what we presume is good condition, at least not critical or serious. We'll stay on top of it and keep you updated. For now, reporting live in Virginia Beach, I'm Nate Eaton, 8 News.
8 News reporter Nate Eaton is there. He's been following the story all evening long. He joins us now live. Nate?
Juan, we do know that crews are now telling us that 95% of the apartment complex has been gone through. I'm going to show you one of the buildings right now. You can see that nothing much is left of it, just a brick shell as fire crews continue to be here on the scene. Now, we have been told that 3 people are still unaccounted for. That doesn't necessarily mean that they are somewhere inside of the apartment complex, but it means that crews haven't been able to track them down. They could be away on vacation. They could be somewhere else. The good news is that no one has been reported missing at this point. Still, when you consider the fact that 6 people had minor injuries, that no one was killed or seriously hurt, many people are saying this is truly a miracle. Lucky indeed. The Navy fighter jet crashed into a dense residential neighborhood shortly after takeoff from the Naval Air Station Oceana. The pilots immediately detected a massive fuel leak and dumped the gas before the F-18 dove into this apartment complex. First responders took care of the injured. Dozens of police cars, fire trucks, and other emergency vehicles filled the neighborhood. Multiple buildings were engulfed in flames. It's believed the 2 jet pilots waited until the last moment to eject to avoid hitting nearby schools. The apartment complex is just a few miles away from the Naval Air Station. The Navy says initial indications are that the aircraft suffered a catastrophic mechanical malfunction.
It's a little difficult out here, Chili.
Now, crews say it's actually going to take days and days before they can clear all of the debris out of the apartment complex. They say that at this point they're literally going through and peeling back layer by layer because a lot of the second-story units have fallen onto the first-story units. Now, one of the most miraculous stories out of all of this is a retired gentleman who was inside of his house when this crash happened. He looks out the back door, and there's one of the pilots lying on his porch. Listen to that experience right now.
I heard 3 loud explosions, or booms. So I walked out my patio door. As soon as I saw the pilot laying on the ground, I knew exactly what had happened. He was just laying as still as he could. The poor guy was in shock. I checked his body for broken bones, any open wounds. He had some blood on his face, I guess from his nose. He was pale, but other than that, he was in good shape. He was very apologetic about crashing. I told him, don't worry about it, son. We will take care of you. And I heard other explosions while we were there. I don't know, ammunition, fuel tank, gas lines. I didn't know it was that close until I saw the smoke coming up over the top of the building. I said, people, we gotta get out of here. I'm in shock.
For something like this happening. So, Eddie, that's what we have. We're about to get a new update from the police here.
My son called to check on me and told him I was all right. My old rescue skills kicked in, and I did what I could for the guy.
Truly some heroic actions there by that gentleman. We do know that this is kind of an elderly apartment complex where elderly people live. Again, we're going to zoom in one quick second here before we go back inside. Look at the shell of that outside apartment building. At least 5 buildings here have major damage just like that. Red Cross assisting everybody who has been impacted, or at least those people that need the assistance tonight. And this will take many, many days and months to get this all taken care of. Still no cause of the crash determined at this point other than the mechanical problem. Also, the good news is everybody has been released from the hospital, we are told, except 1 pilot. Everyone should be home, sleeping in their own beds tonight, or at least somewhere safe and warm. For now, reporting live in Virginia Beach, I'm Nate Eaton, 8 News. The owner of this Petersburg barber shop in shock tonight over how powerful this storm was. I'm standing inside the shop. You can see there is a light hanging from the ceiling. There are chairs on the floor. This frame that was on the wall sits now on the floor. Obviously, the window was blown out. There's blinds hanging from the ceiling. If we walk next door here to this auto body shop,
These windows have been blown out. There's glass and water inside, and this is just the beginning of the damage. You can tell the extent of just how forceful this crash was by simply looking at the vehicles. You can see on the gray car here, the back end of the driver's side is completely smashed in. Check out this mailbox that was damaged early this morning in this Chesterfield neighborhood. A bottle bomb was actually placed inside, and this wasn't the only one. In fact, police tell us 13 mailboxes were destroyed here last night.
He ran up to me and said, "Give me your pocketbook." And I mean, it just shocked me.
Madeline Hughes had no idea her life would change forever as she visited this Chesterfield hardware store Monday afternoon.
I was thinking I was scared.
As Madeline walked out of her car to return a weed eater, a man approached and tried to steal her purse.
He grabbed my left hand and slung me around like that, down where some cement was. And he had a knife. If he hadn't got the pocketbook, he'd have got me with that knife.
Madeline was rushed to VCU Medical Center with head and multiple other injuries.
My whole left hand is scratched up and just a mess of stabs and stuff.
After the attack, police say the suspect ran here behind the store and through this neighborhood. Tonight, investigators say there are no new leads in the case.
They found my pocketbook later. I don't think I had but between $3 and $8 in there.
Tonight, Madeline was released from the hospital, and now she's resting at home. She hopes whoever did this is caught very soon.
You don't want to hear what I'd like to say to him. Being a Christian, I couldn't say it. I don't know. I don't know what I'd say to him.
Nate Eaton, 8 News. Behind me, people still file by the 32 Hokie stones that have been placed at a memorial here on the Virginia Tech campus. And on the cover of the Collegiate Times, a big Roman numeral 5, signifying 5 years since that deadly day. Classes were held on the Virginia Tech campus, the first time that they have been held on an April 16th since the tragedy, and last night, a memorial for those who suffered.
Leslie Geraldine Sherman.
One by one,
the Virginia Tech community will always remember the lives of those lost.
32 names.
Daniel Alejandro Perez Sueva.
32 candles.
It is our fervent hope that, like the candles you hold, you will be a light.
32 slain.
Everybody remembers what they were doing, where they were, how they felt.
On this calm spring night, thousands unite to remember 32.
Everybody knows somebody who was in it or affected, or everyone was affected by it.
Most students here weren't at Virginia Tech 5 years ago, but they'll never forget that day.
Even though we weren't here, it made us feel closer to the victims.
I remember my dad watching the news and crying, and I was freaking out.
Tonight, United Hokies listened for hope, for comfort.
But once again today, we are all Hokies.
And heard their loved ones' names read among the victims, including Rachel Hill from Richmond.
A goal-oriented freshman with plans for a PhD in nanotechnology, biochemistry.
And Matthew Gwaltney from Chesterfield.
Outstanding graduate student and skilled civil and environmental engineering teacher.
As each candle is ignited, every person vows to remember, to be better, and to live for 32. Now, many of the candles used at the vigil were actually used back in 2007. I'm told that Walmart sent about 40,000 to 50,000 of them after the shooting, and they have been used every year since then. As far as the big candle at the memorial, it will be lit again next year on April 16th. Reporting at Virginia Tech, Nate Eaton, 8 News. After today's proceedings, I waited for Stephen Mills outside these main doors. He and his wife exited through another set of doors, and as they were leaving the courthouse, I approached them for a comment. Sir, anything you want to say to your victims? While the Mills had nothing to say to me, they told the judge Virginia Air Mechanical is out of business, and another company has been hired to fix their problems.